I've been watching this young man on YouTube. He's a developer, but he has a lot of these really in-depth conversations about, his own psychology and struggles that he's dealing with as he's trying to move forward in his career. And in his last video, in the last video I watched from him, he talked about this dynamic between reality and this pre-installed prediction software that we all seem to have as humans. It's human nature to try and predict future outcomes, right? So when we apply this to our jobs, typically when we're thinking about our jobs in the future, we think that, the job's going to go well, we're going to continue to make money or maybe even more money in the future, and that we're going to be successful in our careers. And we do this for a sense of comfort, right? If we're predicting that the future is going to be comfortable, we start having those positive feelings about our future, and it's very comforting to think about things like that. But this can turn into an issue where current reality starts to separate so far from this prediction software, where what's true in reality has a massive deviation from what your thoughts are telling you are possible. And this can cause a lot of issues, right? Like this can cause a lot of psychological issues and lead to things like burnout, depression, and it can be a rocky road for sure. And I thought this was so interesting because although he's a developer and he just goes deep in his own mind and he has these really honest conversations with the camera, I was like, damn, this really applies to powerlifting, right? And what's possible in our current reality of training, and then what we think is possible in our upcoming training, right? We all tend to have this generally optimistic view that if training's going well, it's going to continue going well, and that your goals can get more and more ambitious. Or, a lot of the time, if you're struggling a little bit in training, we have these ideas that, okay, things are really going to pick up soon. And inherently, this isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing, right? This keeps you pushing in powerlifting, and it can keep you motivated. But the issue comes when the separation between reality and your goals becomes too spaced out, right? Our current state is so far away from this predictive state that we have in our mind. And if these two states that we're in become too separated, this is where we start to suck. This is where we start to become mentally burnt out, where we fall apart as a lifter and become detached in the sport. And it's so hard to navigate because we want to be optimistic about our future training, and the thing that inevitably leads to your downfall is the first thing that leads to it as your predictions come true, right? Like, let's say my training's going pretty good right now, and I have these predictions about future training that it's going to continue going really, really well. Okay, what if it does? What if my training does, come to fruition as my predictions, were? Well, now my goals are going to get more and more ambitious, and this deviation between what's possible in reality and this predictive software are going to become spaced out significantly. And there will come a point where these predictions can't come true. They're no longer coming true. And instead of it being a positive and motivating pipeline, it starts to become a dread, right? Because all these predictions we're making, they're no longer coming to fruition. We're falling short of our goals consistently. And then we go through a what the fuck moment, right? It's like, well, what now? And fundamentally what this is, or at least my understanding of it, or my conceptualization of it in my mind, is this is kind of what ego death is, right? Like, as we're making these predictions and they're coming to fruition and we're getting better, our ego is growing and growing, and we're becoming more and more ambitious. But when things stop coming true for a long period of time, we start to experience a little bit of ego death. Our ego shrinks, we lose a lot of self-belief, and training becomes sad, and this is where people quit. And I'm sure if you made it this far in the video, you're expecting me to give some kind of answer in how this can all be avoided, right? How can we keep this prediction software in check all the time and only lead to positive sensations in our training? And I don't have that answer. I genuinely don't have that answer. And the reason I say that is because, I've gone a long time in the sport. I put a lot of work into trying to manage this predictive software and make sure that my goals are rooted in reality. But it's really hard. Like when training's going good, we want to get more and more ambitious, and eventually things just aren't going to come true. And I don't know if this is a bad thing. I think this is just life. This is just powerlifting. And the goal shouldn't be, okay, how can I avoid this? The goal should be, how can I bounce back from ego death quicker, right? Like when we experience that impending failure, like it will come, how can we get out of that rut as quick as possible? Like what kind of goals do we need to set for ourselves to get out of that negative mind state and start making some momentum again? Because at the end of the day, I think this is just human nature. I think this is just how the story plays out. And the people who become really successful in their fields, they just get really good at failing and then bouncing back from it. Anyways, this was a really weird video. I did this all in one take and, well, however long this video is, but it's an interesting conversation. And I think that's my goal with these videos, is just to bring up some interesting topics and maybe get you thinking a little bit about your own psychological state when it comes to powerlifting. But yeah, man, got me thinking. Anyway, see ya.